The all-American nightmare Bundy's deceptive charm. He seemed so normal. To those who knew him casually, he was a handsome law student, charming, articulate, and seemingly destined for success. He volunteered for political campaigns and worked at a suicide prevention hotline, projecting an image of empathy and social responsibility. Beneath this carefully crafted facade, however, lurked a darkness that would shock the nation. Young women, often college students, began disappearing from across the Pacific Northwest in the early 1970s. Fear gripped communities as the body count rose, and law enforcement struggled to identify a suspect or establish a motive. He often wore a cast or used crutches, feigning injury to gain the trust of his victims. Bundy proved that evil could wear a smile, making it difficult to reconcile the charming young man with the depraved killer he truly was. A trail of terror, early crimes, and elusive patterns. The early 1970s saw a string of disappearances and murders across Washington, Oregon, and Idaho. The victims, mostly young women with long dark hair parted down the middle, seemed to vanish without a trace. Law enforcement agencies, initially operating independently, struggled to connect the dots. Some victims were last seen with a man matching Bundy's description, often driving a Volkswagen Beetle. The lack of a centralized database for missing persons reports further hampered investigative efforts, allowing Bundy to move undetected across state lines. Bundy's ability to adapt his appearance and modus operandi proved a significant obstacle for law enforcement. He preyed on his victims in public places, using ruses that played on their empathy and willingness to help. Close calls and missed connections. Bundy's luck begins to turn. As Bundy continued his reign of terror, he left behind a growing list of survivors. These women, who had narrowly escaped his grasp, provided crucial, albeit fragmented pieces of the puzzle. One woman, Karen Sparks, survived a brutal attack in her basement apartment, providing investigators with their first detailed description of the assailant and his methods. In August of 1974, 2 women went missing from a crowded beach in Washington state. Witnesses reported seeing a handsome man with his arm in a sling, introducing himself as Ted, approaching women for assistance with his sailboat. The description of Ted and his Volkswagen Beetle, coupled with his method of feigning injury to gain trust, resonated with investigators working on similar cases across the region. Despite these close calls and growing suspicions, Bundy remained frustratingly elusive. The investigation, now involving multiple jurisdictions and the FBI, faced the daunting task of connecting the dots and tracing the movements of a phantom. Forensics in the frame, the turning tide of evidence. While Bundy proved adept at evading capture, forensic science began to play an increasingly crucial role in linking him to the crimes. Hair and fiber evidence found at some crime scenes, though not conclusive on their own, began to paint a picture of a suspect who frequented college campuses and drove a Volkswagen. Tire tracks, meticulously photographed and analyzed, provided additional clues, further narrowing down the search. A crucial breakthrough came with the discovery of bite marks on the body of one of Bundy's victims. Forensic odontologists meticulously compared these marks to Bundy's dental records, obtained after his arrest for a traffic violation in Utah. The similarities were striking, providing compelling evidence to connect Bundy to the murders and signifying a turning point in the investigation. Witnesses and whispers piecing together a killer's puzzle. As the investigation into Bundy intensified, so too did the media attention surrounding his case. Newspapers and television broadcasts carried chilling accounts of the murders, sketching a portrait of a killer who was as elusive as he was ruthless. This heightened awareness, while fueling public anxiety, also proved crucial in generating leads. Witnesses came forward with memories, some seemingly insignificant at the time, that began to fill in the gaps in Bundy's movements and modus operandi. One such witness, Carol Duranch, had a terrifying encounter with Bundy in 1974. Lured into his car under false pretenses, she managed to escape his clutches, providing a detailed description of Bundy and his vehicle. Her harrowing testimony, coupled with the accounts of other survivors, helped investigators construct a more complete picture of Bundy's methods and appearance. The chilling chase, Bundy on the run, again and again. In a shocking turn of events in 1975, Ted Bundy was arrested in Utah for kidnapping and assault. During a subsequent court appearance in Colorado where he faced murder charges, Bundy staged a daring escape from custody, leaping from a courthouse window and disappearing into the night. His escape sent shockwaves through law enforcement and the public alike, underscoring the chilling determination of a killer desperate to remain free. Bundy's time on the run was short-lived, but his audacity knew no bounds. He managed to travel across state lines, assuming new identities and continuing to live a double life, all while under the intense scrutiny of a nationwide manhunt. These escapes, daring as they were, ultimately proved to be Bundy's undoing. Each close call, each stolen glance from a wary citizen, added another piece to the puzzle, tightening the net around him and ultimately leading to his capture in Florida in 1978. Behind bars, but not behind a mask. Bundy's manipulations continue. Even behind bars, Ted Bundy remained an enigma. He continued to deny his crimes, manipulating the media and captivating the public with his intelligence and eerie charm. During his trials, Bundy reveled in the spotlight, often acting as his own attorney and using his legal knowledge to manipulate the proceedings. He cross-examined witnesses, attempted to introduce evidence that played to his narrative, and even proposed marriage to one of his supporters in the courtroom. His actions, a bizarre mix of legal maneuvering and theatrical grandstanding, kept the nation captivated and showcased the depths of his narcissism. Despite his attempts to control the narrative and portray himself as a victim of circumstance, the evidence against Bundy was overwhelming. Bundy's trial marked a turning point in the public's perception of serial killers, shattering the myth of the crazed madman and revealing the chilling reality that evil could lurk beneath the most ordinary of facades. The final chapter, Justice, though answers remain elusive. After a series of trials and appeals, Ted Bundy was sentenced to death for his crimes. His execution in 1994 brought a sense of closure to the families of his victims and a collective sigh of relief from a nation that had been captivated and horrified by his crimes for over 2 decades. In the days leading up to his execution, Bundy finally confessed to some of his crimes, providing chilling details about his methods and the depths of his depravity. However, these confessions, often vague and contradictory, did little to shed light on his motivations or provide closure to the families of those he had murdered. The execution of Ted Bundy did not erase the horror of his crimes, nor did it fully answer the questions that had haunted investigators and the public for decades. Bundy's legacy continues to shape criminal profiling, forensic science, and the public's understanding of the dark side of human nature. Bundy's shadow, the evolution of criminal profiling. The Ted Bundy case had a profound impact on law enforcement, particularly in the field of criminal profiling. Bundy's ability to blend in, to appear charming and trustworthy, challenged these assumptions and forced law enforcement to rethink their approach to investigating violent crimes. Bundy's case highlighted the need for more sophisticated methods of profiling, taking into account not just the physical evidence, but also the psychological makeup of the perpetrator. The FBI's Behavioral Science Unit, established in the wake of Bundy's crimes, began developing detailed profiles of unknown offenders, analyzing their behavior at crime scenes, their interactions with victims, and their overall modus operandi to understand their motivations and predict their next moves. The Bundy case proved to be a watershed moment in the development of criminal profiling. The lessons learned from the Bundy case continue to shape investigative techniques today, emphasizing the importance of understanding the psychology of the offender as well as the physical evidence they leave behind. Lessons from the abyss forensic science in the Bundy case. The Ted Bundy case, while unfolding in the pre-DNA era of forensic science, nonetheless highlighted the crucial role of physical evidence in linking criminals to their crimes. The meticulous collection and analysis of fibers, hair samples, tire tracks, and bite marks provided crucial links between Bundy and his victims, ultimately leading to his conviction. Bundy's case underscored the importance of even seemingly insignificant details. A single hair found on a victim's clothing, a distinctive tire track left at a crime scene, or a bite mark preserved on a victim's body could hold the key to unlocking a complex investigation. The Bundy case served as a catalyst for advancements in forensic science, highlighting the importance of careful evidence collection, preservation, and analysis. The lessons learned from the Bundy case continue to shape forensic investigations today, emphasizing the power of science to reveal the truth, even in the most challenging of cases. Unanswered questions, unsettled minds, Bundy's enduring enigma. Despite multiple trials, a death sentence, and even his own confessions, Ted Bundy remains an unsettling enigma. The full extent of his crimes, his true motivations, and the depths of his depravity may never be fully known. The enduring fascination with Ted Bundy speaks to our collective need to understand the motivations behind such horrific acts. His case continues to generate books, documentaries, and countless theories, each attempting to unravel the mystery of his psyche and explain the unexplainable. The story of Ted Bundy is a cautionary tale, a stark reminder that appearances can be deceiving, and that evil can lurk in the most unexpected of places. Bundy's legacy is a chilling one, a reminder that some wounds never truly heal, and that some mysteries may never be fully solved.